Her serve floats long, and just like that, the dream slips away. That was the moment that made thousands of fans stop mid-scroll and ask the same uncomfortable question. Is Alex Eala's biggest obstacle not her opponent, but her own game? If you're an Eala supporter, this conversation matters more than ever, because we are about to break down exactly what fans believe she must change if she truly wants to lift a Grand Slam trophy. Let's get one thing clear right away. Alex Eala is not just another rising star. She is a movement. Ever since that surreal run at the Miami Open last season, where she charged into the semifinals against the odds, she hasn't just been winning matches. She's been winning hearts. The energy around her feels different. It feels global. It feels historic. And when a 20-year-old from the Philippines walks into a WTA 1000 draw and starts taking out established names, people don't just notice. They believe. But belief alone doesn't win majors. That's where this gets interesting. Because while Eala has surged to a new career-high ranking of 31 after her latest run in Dubai, the conversation among fans has shifted. The hype is still there. The love is overwhelming. But now, expectations are heavier. And with expectations comes scrutiny. On Talking Points, fans were asked a simple but powerful question. What does Alexandra Eala need to improve in 2026 to challenge for a Grand Slam title? The answers flooded in. Passionate, honest, sometimes brutal. Two themes kept repeating like an echo across the tennis world. Her serve and her physicality. Let's start with the serve, because this one is impossible to ignore. When Eala is in rhythm from the baseline, she can outmaneuver almost anyone. Her lefty patterns are crafty. Her court awareness is mature beyond her years. She redirects pace beautifully. But when the match tightens, when pressure creeps in, when she needs a free point, the serve doesn't always deliver. And at the highest level, that is everything. One fan put it bluntly, she needs to improve her serve, stamina, and consistency across a match. That wasn't hate. That was concern. Because if you watched her loss to Coco Gauff in Dubai, you saw the gap. Not in talent. Not in belief. In reliability. Gauff, a Grand Slam champion, leans on her serve during scoreboard pressure. Even when her forehand misfires, her serve bails her out. Eala doesn't have that luxury yet. Her first serve percentage can dip at the worst possible times. Her second serve can sit up against top 10 players. That's an invitation. And here's the uncomfortable truth. You cannot win a Grand Slam in modern tennis without a weaponized serve. Look at the elite tier. Look at how Aryna Sabalenka protects her service games. Look at how IGA Swiatek uses placement and variation. Look at how Coco Gauff has rebuilt hers into a backbone rather than a liability. If Eala wants to join that table, the serve cannot be a question mark. It has to be a statement. Now let's talk about the second theme fans keep raising, stamina and physical strength. This one hits differently, because Alex Eala plays with heart. Nobody questions that. She competes hard. She chases everything. But deep in tournaments, especially in back-to-back long matches, there have been visible dips. One supporter even referenced Manny Pacquiao, suggesting she adopt that blueprint of relentless endurance and conditioning. That comparison isn't random. Pacquiao built his legacy on outlasting opponents mentally and physically. Tennis is different, yes, but the principle is the same. Grand Slams are 2-week wars. 7 matches. Sometimes 3 sets. Sometimes over 2 hours. Sometimes against power hitters who force you into survival mode. You cannot fade physically in week 2. Right now, Eala can explode through early rounds. She can catch fire. She can shock seeded players. But can she grind through a quarterfinal, then reset mentally and physically for a semifinal 2 days later? That is the leap, and fans aren't wrong to point it out. Another fan mentioned something subtle but important: better coaching resources. Up until now, attracting and paying for elite support may have been challenging. That could change with her rising profile. And this is where things get fascinating, because the next phase of Eala's career is not about potential anymore. It's about structure. Does she build a high-performance team focused on biomechanics to refine her serve? Does she bring in a strength coach dedicated to Grand Slam endurance cycles? Does she model her training blocks around peaking twice a year instead of chasing ranking points? These decisions will define her ceiling. Here's the twist, though. Despite these criticisms, she just produced another sensational run in Dubai. She beat Alicia Parks. She stunned Jasmine Paolini. She outplayed Sorana Cîrstea. That is not the resume of someone far away from elite contention. That is the resume of someone knocking on the door. And yet, when she faced Coco Gauff in the quarterfinals, the difference in physical authority and serve stability was clear. Not massive, but decisive. This is the part of development most fans misunderstand. The jump from top 30 to top 10 is not about adding 5 new skills. It's about refining 2 weaknesses until they are no longer targetable. Right now, top players know where to press against Eala. They test her second serve. They extend rallies. They see if she can maintain first strike aggression under fatigue. Some days she answers perfectly. Other days, the cracks appear. But here's why I'm not worried. She's 20. Let that sink in. At 20, most players are still figuring out tour life. Eala is already beating top 10 opponents and defending semifinal points in Miami. That Miami run wasn't a fluke. It was a preview. The real question is not whether she can reach a Grand Slam semifinal. It's whether she can become physically and technically ruthless enough to win one. And that's where fan advice becomes fuel. If she takes this serve conversation seriously, if she commits to adding 10 to 15 miles per hour without sacrificing placement, if she strengthens her core to stabilize under pressure, her entire match dynamic changes. Suddenly, she's holding easier. Suddenly, she's playing with scoreboard freedom. Suddenly, opponents feel the pressure instead of applying it. And when that happens, something dangerous occurs. Belief multiplies. Right now, Alex Eala has the most passionate fan base in tennis. That isn't exaggeration. The online support is relentless. The energy is unmatched. But fan power only amplifies what already exists. To convert that into Grand Slam silverware, she needs evolution. Let me paint you a scenario. Imagine Miami again. Crowd electric. Pressure high. But this time, at 4-4 in the third set semifinal, she steps up and fires 3 unreturnable serves in a row. No scramble. No survival. Just authority. That's the difference between contender and champion. And here's another layer people aren't discussing enough. Consistency across an entire match. One fan mentioned that too. Eala can produce brilliant stretches of tennis. But Grand Slam winners sustain level. They manage emotional dips. They neutralize momentum swings. That's maturity. That's repetition. That comes with experience. And guess what? She's accumulating it fast. Every quarterfinal. Every top 10 clash. Every tight loss. These are deposits into a future payoff. So when fans say she must fix her serve and stamina, I don't hear criticism. I hear recognition. Recognition that she is close enough to dream realistically. Because nobody is giving this advice to a player ranked outside the top 100. They're saying it because they see the door slightly open. And in tennis, slightly open is everything. Now, let's address something honestly. There's a danger in rushing the narrative. When a young star rises quickly, the sport sometimes demands greatness immediately. That pressure can distort development. It can create panic adjustments instead of strategic growth. Eala must resist that. Improving a serve is technical surgery. It requires patience, repetition, trust. Building Grand Slam stamina is not just about running longer. It's about periodization, recovery science, nutrition, sleep, discipline. This is professional evolution. And if her team handles it intelligently, 2026 might not just be about challenging for a slam. It might be about entering one as a dark horse. Right now, ranking 31 puts her in a dangerous position. She's not seated high enough to avoid elite players early, but she's strong enough to upset them. That volatility makes her thrilling. But to lift a trophy, volatility must transform into stability. So here's my take. The serve is priority number 1. Not because she can't win without it, but because it unlocks everything else. If she holds comfortably, her return games become more aggressive. If she's not scrambling to break back constantly, her physical load drops. If her service games shorten, her stamina improves naturally across tournaments. It's a domino effect. Then comes strength training tailored to explosive endurance. Not just bulk, functional power, lateral stability, core resilience. Add that to her existing tennis IQ. And suddenly you're not talking about a top 30 player. You're talking about a major threat. Let's not forget what she's already done. Semifinal in Miami. Quarterfinal in Dubai. Wins over established names. Career high ranking of 31. At 20. There are players who would trade careers for that trajectory. So when fans debate what she must change to win a Grand Slam, the subtext is beautiful. They already believe she can. And belief, when paired with work, becomes prophecy. The next 12 months will be crucial. Defending Miami points, navigating surfaces, handling expectation. But if you ask me whether Alex Eala has a foundation to become a Grand Slam champion, my answer is simple. Yes, with refinement, with patience, with a serve that no longer wobbles under pressure. This isn't a teardown. It's a blueprint. And the best part? She's young enough to execute it. So now I want to hear from you. If you're in her camp, what's the first thing you change tomorrow morning? The serve mechanics? The strength program? The coaching team? Drop your take in the comments, because this conversation might define the next chapter of her career. And 1 year from now, when we're watching her deep in a slam draw again, we'll remember this moment. The moment when fans didn't just cheer, they challenged her to level up. That's what real support looks like. And if she answers that challenge, don't be surprised if the next time we're talking about Alex Eala, it's after she's holding a trophy nobody thought would come this soon. This is Tennis IQ, where we don't just watch tennis. We live it.